Checking. Mics. Settings keep on changing every day. Is it working? Checking. There you go. Kind of loud. I promise I'll pay for place it. I'm checking stuff right now. Stop judging. I forgot to unmute my mic. Say that again. Hello, people of Phuket, people of Thailand, good evening. Good morning to people in the US, but that's probably gonna be like what, 4 a.m? Something like that. Thank you for joining in if you are here. And I have kind of a fun show set up today. If you're interested, please like, share, subscribe. This is zostillmovingabout. Guys, Pliny and Owly in the back right there with a can of compressed air. It is, as usual, raining in Phuket. It was hot most of the day, and yeah, that's about it then. Anyways, Hope everybody's doing good. It has been a long week for me, but a fun week nonetheless. A lot happening at work. And yeah, just trying to fix this live streaming situation every day, because every single day something different, something funny happens. My camera's literally balancing on a tripod. I don't know why the tripod's not letting it hold still. It's just like whoop, whoop, like that. Anyways, I'll show it to you someday. Let's start with where is it? Yeah. So I was looking at the news today. This is from Phuket News. You already know that, but you can't see it, can you? Give me a second. Let me make myself smaller. And yeah. So basically, the Chalong underpass, which took years and years to build, it destroyed the situation logistically in Phuket for quite a few years. It was ridiculous, but things are better now. Were better now, but the government has announced that it is going to be closed for 2 weeks during the day for maintenance, which is probably a good thing, right? It's not America. We fix our infrastructure. I'm joking, guys. But yeah, 9 a.m. to 3:30. So you can use it. I can use it in the morning when I'm going to work, and I can use it when I'm coming back from work. So it doesn't really bother me. I'm sure it bothers a bunch of other people. Although if your timings are 9 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., you should thank your lucky stars, because that is one job you should never ever leave. Anyways, this is the Chalong underpass. As you can see, you know that's Thai. You cannot read. I can't either. So there's that. But let's read the news a bit. Phuket Highways Office Chief told Phuket News today that the blah blah to allow highways officers to conduct a regular 6-month maintenance checkup. That's cool. I didn't know they were checking every 6 months. Officers will work on examining and fixing electricity generators, water pumps, and other electric-related systems inside. Cool. We need to check the system thoroughly, yes. Even check every light bulb in the tunnel. You go. Put those LEDs on, man. Those are nice. We have specifically avoided the rush hours. To explain why our officers do not conduct the work at night, we need sunlight when we shut down the lights in the tunnel. This helps our officers do the work more easily. Also, while everybody's sleeping, while that would be good for people in general, but I'm guessing people need sleep. People who work that hard need sleep. He does apologize for any inconvenience taking place during the closure. We will try to finish the work earlier. So let's see how the wonderful Phuket residents have actually responded to this. They're saying, by the way, where is the comment section on the story about the accountant ripping off 33 million baht? Completely off topic. While they're doing maintenance, they need to also drastically improve the signage to stop motorbikes using the tunnel. I actually do agree with this. There have been mornings I have been going to work and these idiots on bikes try to ride right beside you. Wait, I'll show you some. So look at this. Do you see this? This basically, when you go inside, there's a slight yellow lane over there near the middle, and what people do, the bikers do, is they go careering through this, and you hardly even see you don't realize that they're actually there. So when they're zooming past, you swerve and you almost crash your own car, and it is obviously their fault. They have been asked not to use them. People still do. And by the way, I'm not shitting on Thai people only. Foreigners do the exact same. So I know a lot of I know a lot of foreigners who always complain about Thai people doing the wrong things. That is not always the case. Parangs or foreigners, you guys need to take account of your own actions as well. Anyways, next, police ramp up sandbox tourist safety. As you guys might know, there was this. Let me actually just search this. Was it Phuket tourist murdered? Wow, we're starting the podcast, videocast stream in a very crazy way, isn't it? A Swiss tourist, this older woman, 57-year-old named Nicole, she arrived on the island on July 13. And this is CNN, by the way. So this has made world news because obviously, like, you're welcoming the entire world to come to your party, right? To come to your country, and then you end up with a murdered Swiss tourist, any tourist, even Swiss or not, doesn't matter. So this guy actually admitted to robbing and killing her. The sad thing is that he literally just took 300 baht. Can you imagine? I'm guessing this guy was not, okay up there. I don't know what happened, but 300 baht is nothing. That's less than $10, dude. You get a couple of drinks for 300 baht. You get a decent sized meal for 300 baht. That's what I don't know what kind of drugs he was buying for just 300 baht. He lost his job because of COVID and still has no job. His income is so small, and he has a wife and child. The child's 11 years old. So it's a pretty sad situation. So because of this, thank you, CNN. Because of this, they actually have decided to ramp up sandbox tourist safety and security. They're basically saying that elderly or women traveling alone, girls or single men, they have decided to ramp up the security there. And this is, I'm guessing, their meeting. It's nice to see that they're socially distanced, and we're not socially distanced, but they're wearing masks, and I'm hoping everybody's vaccinated. They had this meeting in Phuket town yesterday, and they said that 177 sandbox tourists arrived on 5 incoming flights. 177, all of them basically tested negative. So far, 73 tourists have tested positive after landing on the island. I don't know how that happens, because weren't they tested before they left their countries? God knows. Since the scheme launched, 190 tourists arrived. 24,190 tourists arrived on 288 flights, and over 5,000 are still on the island. They noted that a crime triangle strategy was being deployed to increase safety for tourists. Not mentioned in the meeting was that officials and police across Phuket were ordered to ramp up after. See, there you go. That's what we just talked about right now. That was pretty accurate. Get your news from here, people. Although Phuket News is helping me right now as well. Thanks, Phuket News. Anyways, so let's look at some other stuff. Maybe a bit of good news for people. Bangkok's mobile vaccination units will deliver vaccines for people at home. That's pretty awesome, actually. The spokesman BMA, which is the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, said that that the units will be with the medical team and will start rolling out within a week, which is pretty impressive. The buses have a hospital standard medical setup inside. Do they have aircon? I'm curious. The vehicles will be sterilized daily, so they'll be disinfected. Basically, that's actually pretty cool. Other than that, they're basically saying that Vietnam and China had this thing going on. It reduces the risk of infection from public transport, makes it easier for people under travel restrictions, under travel restrictions. People, you know what I mean. Anyways, we can also travel to offices and deliver vaccines to people who cannot leave work. Maybe work rules and laws need to be changed if you are not able to go to the hospital for a life-changing, life-saving vaccine. Jeez, people. The BMA is making rapid progress in both proactive testing and administering vaccines to control the epidemic. Delivery vaccine. Delivery. This Thai, this foreigner. Hopefully it will help. Let's hope so as well. Michael Feeney, let's hope so as well. Now, going on to international news, we have Afghanistan. So I started watching this, but as usual, I stopped because I wanted to watch it with you guys. This is about Kabul, Afghanistan after the takeover of Taliban, right? This is from BBC News. And let's see what they have to say.
Of Kabul, and this is a city that's gradually returning to some kind of normality, even as its residents process the dramatic events of the past few weeks. There are more restaurants and shops that are open today than there have been in previous days. There's more traffic in the streets, more people in the streets, though not quite as many as usual. And in particular, there are fewer women, though I have seen some, and not necessarily wearing the all-encompassing burqa. The fear is, of course, that in the coming days, the coming months, the Taliban will impose more of their strict restrictions on women. There's also a strong presence of heavy...
See, that's the thing. From the get-go, everybody has been like, the restrictions against women will be imposed like crazy, but that hasn't happened yet. I'm curious how long this is going to take to actually happen. I have a feeling, I was talking to a few friends about this the other day, I have a feeling that the Taliban are going to be as diplomatic as possible, just because now they're yet again on the world stage after like 20 years, and they might just be wanting to show themselves as, good, decent people. Now, I'm not saying that they are good, decent people. I am just saying that, the show will basically begin after 20 years, where they'll be like, we're amazing, we're decent, and who knows how long that's gonna last, but this is definitely part of it, I'm guessing.
Heavily armed Taliban fighters patrolling the city in vehicles like this. They say they're here to prevent looting and unrest. Despite their assurances of an amnesty for those linked to the government, many who are here will be deeply fearful for their future. There are still large, chaotic and panicked crowds at the airport, and residents are really crucially waiting to find out what kind of government emerges from all of this. The deputy leader of the Taliban, Mullah Baradar, last night flew into the southern city of Kandahar from the group's political office in Doha. Today, other senior Taliban leaders have also been meeting with Afghan politicians. Today, in a show of resistance of sorts in the east of Afghanistan, we saw crowds gathering and rallying around the red, green and black flag of the Afghan state, as opposed to the white and black flag that the Taliban have been replacing it with in many areas. Now, in the eastern city of Jalalabad, Taliban members fired shots in the air to disperse the crowd. How the Taliban deal with those with dissenting views that oppose them or challenge them, is one of the key things that the international community and Afghans here are going to be watching very closely in the coming days.
See, that's what I'm saying, like the eyes are on them, so I have a feeling that they're going to try to look as decent and nice as possible until they probably realize that they're not going to get any slack from the international community, and then we'll be like, fuck it, we're done, we're just gonna go crazy yet again. I hope that it doesn't come to that, but it's like, people are playing with fire to some extent, isn't it? It's a bit scary. Anyways, there are these two really interesting looking documentaries I was wanting to watch. If you guys are interested and want to watch it with me, this will be this is like pretty recent, so this is August 12th. So Well, the point or the idea behind this situation is that watching these documentaries is that, like, this is stuff that I watch on a regular basis, and other people watch from time to time. But what happens is that we watch it alone or we watch it with a couple of people, and the good thing about that is that, yes, you get to spend time with your friends and blah blah. The bad thing about it is it's not enough people watching, so not too many people get educated on certain things. So this is my point. This is the reason I actually want to watch this on stream. So please stay if you want, if you can, and let's see what this is all about. Which one should we watch first, actually? The lighter one or the more serious one? The lighter one is that's not light. Is the disappearance of Noah's food review, the food critic that went missing, and I guess that's him. He looks very different from that. But the second one is the WhatsApp, how WhatsApp makes money, the insane story of WhatsApp. I think a lot of us use WhatsApp in Asia. Let's just go with this one. What do you say? 3, 2, 1, go.
If you're not paying for the product...
Sorry. I'm gonna shut the background music. Give me a sec. Background music. I'm still learning. Let's go.
You are the product.
You are being programmed.
How does WhatsApp make money? What started out as a very simple business question led me down a rabbit hole much darker than I would have imagined, that affects every single one of us. But to make sense of all this, we need to travel back in time.
How far back, man?
It's 2009. The iPhone came out a couple of years ago, and the world is getting to grips with this new concept of smartphone apps. Facebook is rapidly gaining momentum, and a guy called Brian Acton applies for a job there. He gets turned down, but he says he's looking forward to life's next adventure. And that adventure would come just a couple of months later, when Brian and his friend Jan Koum had a smartphone app idea of their own: WhatsApp. It was initially designed as a way for people to update their status, but once they introduced private messaging, the app started to gain popularity very quickly. Because at the time, traditional texting was still quite expensive, whereas WhatsApp was offering global instant messaging completely free.
Yes, it was free. Fun times, man.
Now, free applications normally make money in at least one of three ways: advertising, in-app purchases, or selling your data. But the WhatsApp founders hated ads and actually left their previous jobs at Yahoo because of disagreements over the extensive use of advertising. They even made a post on the official WhatsApp blog about why they hate ads, so that wasn't an option. But they also didn't want to start charging people to use features in the app. The reason they'd started this in the first place was simply because they wanted to build a great product that people wanted to use. Trying to make the product better truly was the priority. And option 3 was a total non-starter as well. Both the WhatsApp founders were privacy activists. So, for a little while, they got by without any revenue. They were simply using the original seed funding they'd been given by some wealthy friends at Yahoo, and keeping costs to an absolute minimum. To save money, the WhatsApp team even worked off cheap IKEA tables and wore blankets for warmth. If you picture the stereotypical Silicon Valley startup looking to grow as quickly as possible and make millions, WhatsApp was the opposite.
But we're still trying to be really conservative and frugal with the money we had. So,
but inevitably, as more and more people downloaded the app and more features were introduced like picture messages, WhatsApp needed some revenue to invest in servers and hiring a bigger team.
Yep.
So, WhatsApp introduced a $1 fee. In some countries, you had...
Wasn't the $1 fee a hoax? It was like one of those chain messages or Facebook updates that if you don't update Facebook, you're going to lose your WhatsApp account. Or wasn't that the case? That's what I remember. But yeah.
to pay this upfront to buy the app, whilst in other countries you got the app free for a year and then had to pay $1 a year after that to keep it. What's interesting about this is that the $1 fee wasn't actually enforced all that often. If anyone didn't pay the $1 renewal at the end of each year, WhatsApp would normally just let them keep the app for free anyway. It was almost like the fee... WhatsApp would normally just let them keep the app for free anyway. It was almost like the fee was more of a voluntary donation. As crazy as that sounds, it worked fairly well. It meant they didn't alienate their users, and enough people did pay the $1 fee that WhatsApp were able to keep running smoothly for quite a while. After all, $1 a year for such a convenient app was well worth it to many people if it meant they didn't have to do any of this. Of course, whilst the $1 fee did bring in some much needed revenue for WhatsApp, it was mainly just to cover their costs. They still weren't very profitable with such a small fee. But strangely, that didn't matter. Tech companies exist in a very strange realm, where you can be worth vast sums of money even if you're not profitable and have no clear plan to make money. If you've got lots of users, investors see the potential.
VCs started coming to us and they're like, you guys are doing great, we want to partner with you, we want to give you money, and we're like, we don't really need it, which makes them want to invest even more.
Now, the reason the WhatsApp founders were reluctant to take on new investors in the beginning was that they were worried the investors would want to push heavier monetization and compromise the quality of the app. However, soon WhatsApp were growing so fast that investment companies like Sequoia Capital started offering them millions of dollars and agreeing to whatever terms WhatsApp wanted, which meant the investors wouldn't interfere with the app or make them implement ads, and WhatsApp would get a big cash injection. And herein lies the revenue strategy WhatsApp used for a while: get investments. Essentially, they said rather than trying to get more money out of our users, let's just invest in making our app the best it can be, which will bring in more users, which will then bring in more investors, and the cycle repeated. Seriously, that was their plan, and it worked out great for everyone. You see, WhatsApp is an app that benefits from the network effect, meaning the more people who have the app, the better it is for all of the users, as it means they can message more people. So by not cashing in and plastering it with ads or lots of paid features, WhatsApp could grow much quicker because people would tell all their friends and family about the app, and so the user count would keep rising. And thus, they kept attracting more investors, giving WhatsApp even more money to improve the user experience further. Of course, there is one big problem with this strategy. You can't rely on investors forever. At some point...
Sorry, someone just told me that you guys can't really see the text. Let me see if I can quickly fix that. I don't know if this fixes it, but let's see.
They'll want to see that the company actually has a profitable business model. Well, right, unless of course you just sell the app for a huge payout.
Facebook has bought the mobile messaging service WhatsApp for $19 billion in cash and stock. And
at the time, a lot of people were confused by this sale, with many people baffled by the figure paid.
$19 billion, come on, is it really worth it?
In fact, there's data to suggest that in the prior 9 months to Facebook's acquisition, WhatsApp had generated just $1.2 million in revenue, and thus was making a huge loss. So why would Facebook be buying it for $19 billion? For context, they bought Instagram for $1 billion. Or for comparison, that kind of money could fund about 20 Mars missions, or build 13 Burj Khalifas. Instead, Facebook bought a messaging app with very similar features to their own messaging app that had relatively low revenue and was quite probably making a loss every single year. Why?
Yeah, because they think of the long-term stuff, man. They don't think about short-term shit. Facebook does not.
Facebook's next trick is to turn WhatsApp into a real business. The messaging service makes practically no money now, but Mark Zuckerberg has plans to change that.
Then there's the strategic value and what we can do together. And I actually just think that by itself it's worth more than $19 billion. I mean, it's hard to exactly make that case today because they have so little revenue compared to that number. But I mean, the reality is there are very few services that reach 1 billion people in the world. They're all incredibly valuable, much more valuable than that.
Now, hearing Zuckerberg talk about the synergy between Facebook and WhatsApp rang alarm bells for many people. After all, Facebook's whole business model is collecting your data, then using that to shove limitless personalized ads in your face at every opportunity. Pretty much everything WhatsApp was meant to stand against. Plus, Facebook have a terrible track record when it comes to privacy, such as the Cambridge Analytica scandal, where millions of Facebook users had their data taken and used against them without consent. Not just that, but in a leaked private message from the very early days of Facebook, Zuckerberg allegedly told a friend that if they ever needed info about anyone at Harvard, just ask, as he has over 4,000 emails, pictures and addresses. When the friend asked how, Zuckerberg said people just submitted it. I don't know why. They trust me.
No, they don't.
Since then, Facebook has gone on to have numerous other scandals involving privacy, security and data, which always end the same way.
And it was my mistake.
It sounds like we made a mistake there.
In retrospect, it was a mistake.
We have made a lot of mistakes in running the company.
It was my mistake.
I apologize for that, and I'm sorry.
And I'm sorry.
And I'm really sorry that this happened.
This is a really good cut. He never really apologizes. He just looks at you and stares at you like a freaking robot.
And then after that, everything just carries on as normal. However, Zuckerberg promised the WhatsApp founders that they could continue to operate independently from Facebook and that there'd be zero pressure to monetize. So, what could go wrong?
Tell us. Tell us, guys.
On a blog post in 2016, WhatsApp announced they will no longer charge subscription fees, meaning the $1 fee that wasn't properly enforced anyway would be scrapped. Which, on the surface, sounds great. Maybe Facebook really do just care about connecting the world and they're happy to make a huge loss on WhatsApp and just not monetize it at all. But if we step out of dreamland and come back to reality, the truth becomes a lot clearer about why Facebook really bought WhatsApp and how they're monetizing
Information.
it. Firstly, Facebook was buying the users and their data. As one source points out, Facebook is in the surveillance business, and in fact, maybe the biggest surveillance-based enterprise in the history of mankind. The more data Facebook has about users, the more powerful it becomes. And WhatsApp provided behavioral data, contact lists, and endless more personal information.
You know, it's interesting. Facebook was made in where? In the US, right? TikTok was made in China. And they're basically both doing the exact same thing, except the Chinese app is hated upon more than Facebook. And Facebook's doing the exact same thing. They know exactly who you like, what kind of pictures you like. You're talking to something, you're talking about something to somebody, and as soon as you open Facebook, an ad will appear. This has happened so many times. Even like, jokes. Like you're cracking jokes with your friends and you say something, not so subtly dirty or something. You'll see a DILDO, for example, if you talk about it as a joke even with friends. It's just ridiculous, man.
Some have argued that WhatsApp was the missing link for Facebook, as the access to phone numbers now bridges the offline and online worlds of Facebook users. Plus, WhatsApp now has well over 1 billion users and still has a lot of growth opportunity.
Yep,
in fact, it leads the way in developing nations where Facebook's own messaging service isn't as popular. That was likely why Facebook scrapped the $1 fee for WhatsApp users, because getting new users into the Facebook ecosystem is far more profitable for them than charging $1 each. Your data is worth much more to them than $1 a year, because the more data points they have about you, the more they can combine that with data from other sources and build an even clearer profile of exactly who you are, thus making it much easier to sell you things. And so, by removing the fees, it removes any barriers for people to use the app, and thus makes it easier to expand and eventually get the entire world using their services, which all become connected. However, another reason for Facebook's WhatsApp purchase was simply to stop the competition. Zuckerberg had heard that the WhatsApp founders had been invited to Google's Mountain View headquarters for talks. And so he rushed to make them an offer they couldn't refuse, so that they didn't sell to a competitor. Facebook has a habit of doing this as a way to ensure they keep control of the attention.
Facebook is a case study, in my opinion, in monopoly power, because your company harvests and monetizes our data, and then your company uses that data to spy on competitors and to copy, acquire, and kill rivals. You've used Facebook's power to threaten smaller competitors and to ensure that you always get your way. These tactics reinforce Facebook's dominance, which you then use in increasingly destructive ways. So Facebook's very model makes it impossible for new companies to flourish separately, and that harms our democracy.
So, whilst we can't publicly see the revenue data of WhatsApp, it seems evident WhatsApp is not making a profit right now. In fact, maybe never has. But because it's now owned by Facebook, they're in no rush to monetize directly. What matters to them is owning the...
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. People have been buying, they've been selling data and people for the longest time. So I doubt that WhatsApp was not profiting off of it. They're not angels either. The fact that they joined Facebook, that just changes things 10-folds maybe or 20-folds, but that doesn't mean that they weren't using the data for some other purposes. How to actually make WhatsApp different. Nobody just woke up one day. Maybe they did, but I don't think that they just woke up one day and said, oh, we're going to be able to send photos now or voice notes or this and that. I don't think so. Just the fact that if you look at WhatsApp, when you click the audio, the mic recording, you have to push it up and it starts recording, and you can record for as long as you want. With Facebook, it was never the case. You had to hold it, and your thumb for an entire minute would be exhausted. And now you just tap the mic on Facebook Messenger, and it starts recording. So these are ideas that keep on going back and forth.
Users and data. Because, as one source argued, that means the tentacles of Facebook are closer to reaching billions of people, and with a market that size, Facebook is sure to find a way to eventually cash in. But hold on a minute. You might be thinking, are you not getting a bit carried away here? Zuckerberg specifically said WhatsApp would stay independent and wouldn't be sharing information with Facebook. So, there's nothing to worry about, right? Right? In 2017, WhatsApp founder Brian Acton quit after a conflict with Zuckerberg regarding WhatsApp's monetization and plans to share WhatsApp user data with Facebook. By leaving when he did, he lost out on an estimated $850 million in unvested stock options. But clearly he couldn't be a part of what was happening for a second longer. Just a year later, Brian began to get much more vocal about his Facebook concerns. He even tweeted, "It's time, delete Facebook." He then poured $50 million of his own money into starting Signal, a rival messaging app with very similar features to WhatsApp, but that was a non-profit foundation and prioritized security and privacy. Essentially, he wanted to recreate WhatsApp in the pure, idealized form it started. And if you zoom out for a moment, you'll see what a crazy story arc that was for Brian Acton. Firstly, he tries to get a job at Facebook and gets rejected. So he builds his own app called WhatsApp. Years later, Facebook buy it for $19 billion and ask him to stay on as a Facebook employee. He then has a huge falling out with Facebook and quits. Finally, he uses some of the money from the WhatsApp sale to start a brand new rival app to compete with Facebook and WhatsApp.
I am the David going against the Goliath that I created.
Dude, massive respect. Signal is freaking awesome. There's Signal and there's Telegram. Both of them are extremely private. Your data is encrypted. It's really difficult to collect data through these two apps. I don't know about who's doing Telegram. Maybe they'll talk about it. But Signal's freaking awesome.
I want to build a delightful product that protects people's privacy.
Now, how exactly did it get to that point where Brian was willing to walk away from an extra $850 million just to get away from what Facebook were doing? Well, things started to get rocky when in May 2017, the European Commission fined Facebook €110 million for misleading it during the takeover of WhatsApp.
The fine imposed on Facebook of €110 million. The fine is the highest fine we have ever imposed for procedural infringement in a merger case.
Apparently, Facebook falsely claimed it was technically impossible to automatically combine user information from Facebook and WhatsApp. However, it was later revealed that not only was this possible, WhatsApp had actually been sharing user information with Facebook for years already. This included sharing phone number data from WhatsApp so it could be targeted by Facebook ads. Brian has said he later found out that pretty much right from the beginning, Facebook had always planned to match people's WhatsApp numbers to their Facebook or Messenger accounts so they could collect more data about them to show them more personalized adverts.
They do that, right? It's merged Messenger, right? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Never mind. They do that. Messenger, yeah.
A little while later, the other WhatsApp founder, Jan Koum, also quit, after it became clear that Facebook executives wanted to weaken WhatsApp's encryption to make monetizing it easier. But perhaps what's most troubling of all is some people believe the WhatsApp encryption is already not as secure as it's made out to be.
Now, Facebook, according to all these articles, is looking at putting an on-device AI algorithm into WhatsApp to scan and moderate content for the entire platform. If this is implemented, and we're going to get to that because I think it's already there, the app itself would automatically scan messages prior to them being encrypted and sent. Something that they are basically saying is encrypted and secure, and it's not. Do not assume that WhatsApp is secure.
They hear the word encryption and then assume that it is safe. This is an amazing ploy of disinformation.
In recent years, Brian Acton has gone on to say, "I sold my users' privacy. I made a choice and a compromise, and I live with that every day." And he's certainly not the only former Facebook employee to have spoken out against what the company is doing. Former head of growth Chamath once said, "We've created tools that are ripping apart the social fabric of how society works." In hindsight, Facebook acquiring WhatsApp was inevitably going to cause a clash. Facebook is one of the world's biggest advertising networks, and the WhatsApp founders hated ads. Facebook's business is built around how much it knows about its users, and the WhatsApp founders were pro-privacy activists. And so it could be argued that deep down, the WhatsApp founders must have known things were only going to end one way once they sold to Facebook. But put yourself in their shoes. You're being offered $19 billion for an app that isn't even profitable.
Oh, I'll take it.
Would you really turn it down?
No. This is nicely made, dude. Very nicely made. I'm sorry,
Let's
I won't
again
pause it
return
now.
to the original question. How does WhatsApp make money? We now know that in the early days, they did this with the $1 fee. Then their business model became getting money from investors and eventually getting a big payout from Facebook. But now that Facebook own the app, how are they making money from it right now? Is it just from collecting our data, sharing it with Facebook and its affiliated businesses, and then selling us things? Well, no. One other new way they're looking to monetize WhatsApp is with WhatsApp Business, a service that helps businesses connect with customers and provide customer support. Several big tech companies like Netflix and Uber have already started trialing the service. WhatsApp makes money if businesses don't reply to customers within 24 hours, thus essentially charging them for late replies. And whilst this sounds kind of promising, I'm willing to bet you probably haven't ever used this service. And so I think it's reasonable to assume this alone is not going to make WhatsApp profitable anytime soon.
Sorry,
Unfortunately,
can I repeat that?
for late customers started trialing the service. Several big tech companies like Netflix and Uber have already started trialing the service. WhatsApp makes money if businesses don't reply to customers within 24 hours, thus essentially charging them for late replies. And whilst this sounds kind of promising, I'm willing to bet you probably haven't ever used this service. And so I think it's reasonable to assume this alone is not going to make WhatsApp profitable anytime soon. Unfortunately, now that the $1 fee is gone, all those things WhatsApp originally tried to avoid now look much more likely. A spokesperson for WhatsApp has already confirmed they plan to further monetize the app by introducing ads in the status section. Someone should probably tell them to remove the "Why we don't sell ads" post from the WhatsApp blog first. But the truth is that whilst we may see more monetization happening directly within WhatsApp, the biggest value of WhatsApp to Facebook will always be the data and deeper integration between WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, and so on. In early 2021, concerns about this caused WhatsApp a lot of negative headlines. Essentially, because of Apple's new disclosure requirements, WhatsApp had to inform users about which of their data points may be shared with businesses and the third parties they use. For WhatsApp, this included things like phone number, profile pictures, name, status, login activity, contact list, purchases, financial information, information about your phone, mobile company, IP address, location, and so on. WhatsApp initially forced users to accept this by February 8th, or were told they could no longer use the app ever again.
If you'd rather not agree, you'll at first be able to hit the back arrow in the upper left corner of the overlay. Over time, though, the pop-ups will appear more frequently. Eventually, you won't be able to click away at all, and the app's functionality will start to degrade.
But when they received complaints, they postponed this until May 15th. They didn't change anything, just postponed the date you had to accept by to try and let the backlash die down. What's arguably worse though, is that this update wasn't even a change to their privacy policy. Apparently it was just clarification of what WhatsApp had already been doing for years. But because of new rules, they had to publicly announce it now. Which may leave you wondering, if there really are all these privacy concerns, then why do people still trust WhatsApp? When this question was asked on Reddit, the answer was simple. They don't. But most people just don't care that much about privacy. Of course, the people on our privacy do, which is why when asked about trusting WhatsApp, all the top comments are, "No, no way, I don't trust them." One popular post even listed specific reasons to not use WhatsApp. Again, mainly related to data sharing with Facebook. But again, the network effect is at play here. it's difficult for other apps to fully compete, because even if you wanted to switch to something like Signal, there's no point unless all your friends and family are using it as well. As one person summarized, by the time WhatsApp was acquired by Facebook, practically everyone in my circle was using it, for everything, even work stuff. It's so deeply embedded into people's lives that you essentially have to pick between keeping your privacy or keeping in touch with the people around you. And yet, despite all of that, it's now time for a pretty major plot twist. Before we get to the final chapter of the WhatsApp story, time for a brief intermission. If you check out the description of this video, I've included a link to a VPN, and if you care about privacy online, I highly recommend you get one so you can keep your data just in an income from content creation. So you're interested in building a YouTube channel or business of your own, pause the video now and check out the description.
Sorry, it wasn't.
It may be tempting to see this video as an attack on WhatsApp and Facebook, but that is honestly not the case. The truth is that this kind of data collection is not some conspiracy. It's a fairly standard practice that many companies do. Whilst Facebook are particularly notorious for it, it's hypocritical of me to preach about privacy when this video was funded by advertisements. And honestly, I don't actually think companies collecting data to show you more targeted ads is inherently bad if they're transparent about it. Because if companies like Google didn't do that, then free YouTube content like this probably wouldn't be possible. If companies like Facebook didn't do that, then free access to social media platforms probably wouldn't be possible. The reality is that WhatsApp is a great service and is genuinely helping to connect the world. This video has had a dark tone, and if you really are worried about privacy and full transparency and the ever-growing power of Facebook, well, then you'll feel this dark video tone was appropriate. But many people may instead think this video is overdramatic, because most businesses and apps collect, share, and often sell your data. Your local store's loyalty card tracks what you're buying and when. Cookies track every website page you visit. In comparison, the data WhatsApp collects perhaps isn't even that bad. What's really interesting here though, is that most of us, myself included, have decided we're willing to give away so much information about ourselves in exchange for something free.
We have to think really carefully about what it is that we're giving up when we're surrendering our privacy by agreeing that anyone who has the technical capacity to can track whatever you do on the internet, combine that with any other data sources that they can acquire about you.
And let's be clear, as far as we know, WhatsApp are not reading your actual messages. Whilst there are security concerns about that, officially there is no evidence your messages can be or are being scanned. So, after watching all of this, should you remove WhatsApp? Well, it depends. Quite a few people have been switching to different messaging apps instead, but it's worth being cautious here. For example, Telegram has seen a big spike in new users, and yet it arguably offers even less security than WhatsApp, since messages aren't end-to-end encrypted by default like WhatsApp is. In fact, the two apps recently had a bit of a social media argument where neither came out particularly well. So, if you're truly worried about security and privacy and Facebook having all this information on you, Brian Acton's new app, Signal, seems to be considered one of the best alternatives out there. Because it's non-profit and has the backing of a now billionaire, they're unlikely to have the same monetization pressures most commercial chat apps have. It's even used by Edward Snowden and endorsed by Elon Musk. Crucially, Signal is also open source, unlike many other chat apps where you can never be sure exactly how it operates.
We're not here to destroy WhatsApp tomorrow. We're here to help people understand that there's alternatives. Okay. And that if your privacy matters to you and it's important to you, that you should seek alternatives.
However, if you're already using Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger, and you understand how Facebook operates, then continuing to use WhatsApp probably makes more sense, especially if all your friends and family use it. It's simply very convenient, and for many people, that's a trade-off worth making. If really all Facebook is doing with that data is giving you more tailored adverts, then maybe that's not so bad. Ultimately, it's your choice. But I think in general with all apps and websites, being slightly more aware of what data you're sharing and how it's used is important, especially as more and more elements of our life become connected by technology. Because whilst there's nothing inherently wrong with that, I will end this video with the same message that started.
Turbo downloaded this mobile app. It beat Insta. Messenger was second, Facebook was first. Meaning Facebook own all of the most downloaded forums. Jeez! It's all for data, man. It's all for, and this, the funny
now
thing
for
is,
some good news. This channel has lots more movies and documentaries just like this one.
Dude, that's a good, what's it? Magnates Media. Thank you, subscribing, dude. My name is John, my name is Zoe. Nice to meet you, man. This was actually a really good documentary, wasn't it? I'm so excited. I'm happy for some reason. The thing is that it's definitely created a dent, right? It's definitely created a dent in Facebook's profits. But it's interesting that, yeah, I know. It's interesting that you know, top 4 of the world. I use Signal, I use Telegram. I do notice from time to time that not a lot of people are using it, so I can't really get in touch. Excuse me, but there are some friends who have literally asked me to only message them on Telegram and only message them on Signal. One good thing about Signal and Telegram, I think, is Telegram, that you can the messages can self-destruct as well after being read or something. I haven't used it enough, but I do want to look into it. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? If you guys have anything to say, I'm really curious to hear that. So there's that. There's just one more thing I wanted to watch today. That is oh shit, what happened? Okay, internet went down for a sec. Am I back? Am I back? I think I am back. There is the second thing I'm going to watch, and then we'll call it a night. This is a shorter one, but it's about a food critic who disappeared. I haven't read anything about him except that people used to make fun of him. I shouldn't have told you guys that, right? Shit, I'm so sorry. But this might be interesting. If you guys found
mukbangs, eating challenges. Yes, there are many stuffing their faces in.
So before we go ahead, because right after this I'll shut it. I do have a guest coming in possibly this weekend. I'm not going to tell you what she does at the moment, but let's just say that she is saving Phuket in her own way. I think it'll be interesting to see what kind of project she has going on. She's a friend of mine, and yeah, it's exciting what she does. I will talk about it a bit more when I confirm the date, the exact date and exact time with her. But yeah, so this is a live show, a daily live show at the moment before I get too exhausted or something. So I'll let you know every day whenever something like this is going on later on in the week, and so you guys can maybe schedule that around your awesome lives. Anyways, cheers.
in the YouTube food consumption hustle. Some of these creators have thousands upon thousands of subscribers and interesting stories lining their individual rises to fame. But today I'd like to move the big boys over to the side and focus on a small food review channel that never really had commercial success on YouTube but did have a lasting impact on the YouTube community. I'm talking about Noah's Food Review.
Never heard of this.
Today we will be reviewing Tyson Enterprises boneless chicken wings, honey barbecue flavor, a Nature Valley sweet and salty nut granola bar peanut flavor. A thin filled Miracle Whip with twilight.
Miracle Whip. Cool Whip.
And his food items that he reviewed, while indeed interesting, they weren't the only attraction to his channel. Much of the appeal was Noah himself.
Today we'll be reviewing Lunchables mini hot dogs. And here we go. I ain't putting mustard on it because I don't like mustard. I like ketchup and Miracle Whip.
He was seen as this dopey character, and his channel would attract thousands of viewers who would come to laugh at his expense. Until one day, he just disappeared from the internet, leaving an entire community scratching their heads wondering why Noah mysteriously vanished. And at the time, entire community...
Reese's Cups? I want to search it. Wait. Reese's Cups? No, not Reese's Cups. Does the channel not exist right now? That's sad. Now I wonder Reese's Pieces. But that's sad. That's unfortunate. Yeah, it doesn't mention that at all. So. Yeah, it's probably gone. It's probably disappeared. This is actually a pretty new documentary or something. It's August 18th. It's just like a week ago, a little more over a week ago.
Until one day, he just disappeared from the internet, leaving an entire community scratching their heads wondering why Noah mysteriously vanished. And at the time of his disappearance, there was even a troubling rumor spreading around suggesting that he had passed away from health issues. Is this actually the case? Today I'd like to tell you all the story of the rise and disappearance of Noah's Food Review, and by the end of things, hopefully we can piece together some leads and figure out what the hell actually happened to this food reviewer. Well, I don't think we could have more of an appropriate sponsor for today's video than CrowdCow.
Be an asshole, man.
God, $1 item. But around 2013 and 2014, you really saw the genre become realized, with channels getting hundreds of thousands of views simply by reviewing fast food products. Channels like Dame Drops and Report of the Week are two in my mind that really helped popularize this genre thanks to their decision.
There was a guy who used to look like this dude, and I mean he probably still exists somewhere, and he used to rate cigarettes. Like he just used to sit in his car, I think it was only in his car, and he used to just rate different cigarettes and taste it and go like, you know, okay, this is what it smells like, this is what it tastes like. He just used to give a proper review, just used to have a full cigarette in his car or something. If I find that, I'll show it to you guys sometime later. Oh, my bad.
To review primarily fast food items. Foods that anyone in the general public could easily go out and try for themselves after watching a review. This format really worked. And once other aspiring YouTubers saw the views possible with it, in 2015 there was a massive food review gold rush. Everyone and their grandma was taking a camera, driving to the nearest fast food restaurant and reviewing the new item that said restaurant had to put out so they could hopefully get big on YouTube from their mediocre review. these reviewers were a dime a dozen. The food review genre quickly became oversaturated. Everyone was using the same formula, eating the same foods, and most were just really not that great at critiquing. The only reviewers that stuck around were the ones that had some kind of personality or funny gimmick. There were a lot of subpar content creators that popped up around this time, but that said, there were diamonds in the rough. And one of these gems of a channel would be discovered in early 2016. It was a small channel called Reese Cups, created by a 13-year-old kid living in rural Georgia named Noah Reese, and his flagship series, the now infamous Noah's Food Reviews. Noah's rise to infamy began as a result of his first video, in which he reviewed something that had likely never been reviewed before on YouTube. Miracle Whip. Yeah, just like straight up fucking Miracle Whip spread. And not only is this food review item in question a target of mockery, so was the reviewer himself, Noah. Let's just say the guy has a peculiar way with words.
Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Noah's Food Review. Today we will be reviewing Kraft Miracle Whip. I personally have enjoyed Miracle Whip on quite a few occasions. So, as you can see, the jar is almost empty because I love Miracle Whip, so let me get some out of here. A spoonful of Miracle Whip, and let's try it.
America. The jar's empty.
Very strong taste. It's hard to digest. Overall, I will have to give Kraft Miracle Whip original dressing on the food scale rating a 7 out of 10.
You finished it. You finished
Now, after
it.
seeing Noah in his full unbridled glory, what do you think the YouTube community's reaction was to this Miracle Whip review video? I mean, come on, it's 2016, Leafy's reaction videos are the hottest thing on the website and cringe compilations are all over the place. What else would people do? They made fun of Noah for this video. In the weeks following Noah's Miracle Whip review video, people would upload mocking reaction videos and parodies with the intention of emphasizing how cringe this would-be reviewer was, sort of making fun of his speech and also calling him a glutton.
Welcome to Noah's Food Reviews. We're gonna be trying 6 pounds of beans. This guy literally is Cartman in real life. Like, no joke.
Sloshing around, squeezing out. Look at this. Look at that mouth right there. Look at that mouth. Looks like he's got like massive buck teeth right there.
Come on, look at your fucking ugly face, douchebag. Come on.
Miracle Whip.
Hey guys, welcome back to Noah's Food Reviews. We're doing another review of Kraft's Miracle Whip.
I feel like he's gonna have a fantastic career ahead of him. However, he's probably gonna die soon. Those arteries are clogged.
So yeah, the reaction channels and the trolls were having their fun, but this didn't stop Noah. Despite all the mockery he was receiving, Noah pressed on and continued to make these ramshackle food reviews. He was unshaken, seemingly ignoring the detractors, never once acknowledging them on his channel. This man seemed to have a divine purpose. Miracle Whip was just the beginning. He would review all the foods of the common man. He reviewed Lunchables hot dogs.
Lunchables mini hot dogs. My first thought is that the bread is very stale. I'll give this a 6 out of 10 on the food review scale.
Gatorade powder.
Gatorade thirst quencher powder. On my last couple videos, I've been reading the comments, and a guy named Damon has been wanting me to do like uncooked stuff. He wanted me to eat the nuggets frozen, uncooked ramen and stuff like that. So, this for you, Damon. Alright, so I'll pour this out.
Sweet.
Try it.
Why would you do that though?
Boneless Tyson wings.
Tyson Enterprises boneless chicken wings, honey barbecue flavor. Look at the picture of them chicken nuggets right there. You can see here the texture, very nice. Let's just try it. I'm a fan of McDonald's chicken nuggets, right? And I'd much rather have this than McDonald's chicken nuggets. But the batter on these bad boys, oh my god, that's ridiculous, man. These things are delicious.
As Noah produced more food reviews throughout the year, the YouTube community's interest in him grew and he became a lolcow of sorts. A figure that internet denizens would milk for cringe and react content. That said though, there were some out there that watched Noah and genuinely appreciated his kind-hearted personality and candid reviews, even finding his childlike speech pattern somewhat of an endearing quality. Whatever the case, Noah's Reese Cups channel was receiving a lot of attention, accumulating over 10,000 subscribers with just a few videos and only a few months of uploading. Noah was clearly onto something with these reviews, and even though a lot of the attention was negative, it was clear that if he kept producing them, he likely might actually be a commercially successful YouTuber and could potentially spin this into some kind of small-time career. But out of nowhere, in late 2016, Noah...
Have you noticed? I'm not being a douchebag. It's just this food. It's like whiter than normal. Just
deleted all of his videos and left the internet.
It's so white. Just saying. This is sad though. So
no explanation was given for Noah's disappearance. The fans were disappointed, and the trolls and react channels had lost their plaything. In the time following Noah's channel being wiped, there was a lot of discussion and speculation in regard to what happened with him. Some theorized that, well, maybe he just got annoyed by people making fun of him and he deleted the videos. Others had more elaborate explanations, like his parents forced him to delete the channel or that the channel had been hacked. Nobody really knew for sure. In the wake of this event, entire subreddits would be created used to crowdsource information about Noah and his whereabouts, and videos were uploaded to YouTube discussing his disappearance. Him vanishing was like a YouTube community news event in many ways.
Noah was really just a nice guy who really cared about the food that he was reviewing. So I don't know if Noah's here or not, bro. It's crazy. I just miss Noah's food review, bro.
One popular and concerning explanation for Noah's disappearance came from a YouTube commenter known as Fanboy. Fanboy claimed to have known Noah in real life, actually going as far as claiming that he was his cousin, and he gave an anecdote that would be spread around the YouTube community. His comment went something like this: "I know why Noah left YouTube and deleted his videos. I am his cousin and have some bad news to share. He is experiencing serious health problems. He has been placed in an induced coma for about 4 months now, and he has lost approximately 200 pounds or so while comatose. Noah's condition has been worsening, and the doctors say his brain functions are slowly decreasing. They are having difficulty keeping toxins out of Noah's blood, which makes it difficult to wake Noah up from his coma." I almost feel stupid having to read you this comment. Like, I'm not even gonna put any narrative salt and pepper on it. This thing is obviously bullshit. Like, it's so clear this is just some made up story. Oh, they're having difficulty keeping the toxins out of his blood. He's not going to survive. We get it, the guy ate Miracle Whip and hot dogs. It's probably not the healthiest thing. So this is obviously fake. This story is so vague and just ridiculous, and of course anybody could claim to be Noah's cousin. The problem with this is that even that I'm explaining to you how bullshit and how obviously fake this is, it was actually picked up by the YouTube community and is still believed by many to this day. There are people out there that really think Noah is dead or at least on death's door. Misinformation spreads quickly on the internet. In a case like this where people are desperate for some kind of nugget of knowledge, they latched onto this one and people really thought that Noah was 6 feet under or almost there.
Noah died at age 14 of heart complications.
Okay, now it's kind of hard for me to believe anything.
But then to add to the confusion of this situation, there was a doppelganger channel that popped up on YouTube called Noah's Food Reviews that started posting re-uploads of his old videos, making many people think that Noah was back and was trying to get his content that was accidentally deleted back on YouTube. This doppelganger channel would even leave comments saying that, "Oh guys, I'm alive, don't worry, I'm okay." It really becomes like a big clusterfuck of misinformation. Eventually though, after wading through this misinformation tsunami for over a year, Noah's fans would finally be introduced to someone with some actual credibility who could provide some insight into what was really happening with Noah. That person was Bo Duke 2.
To a spoonful of this stuff.
That's syrup.
Man, I put that stuff on everything.
Bo Duke was a friend of Noah and attended his high school and actually had some proof to back up this claim. On November 16th of 2017, which is almost a year and a half after Noah had disappeared, Bo Duke would post a video to his YouTube channel called Noah's Food Review Lives. Here's the evidence. And this video would silence all claims that Noah had died.
Reese. What's up? You know this is going on YouTube, right? Okay, bye.
In the video, Bo Duke pulls his camera out at school and films Noah. He calls Noah by his last name, Reese, in the video.
Reese.
And when Noah looks over, you can tell that it is indeed the Miracle Whip Muncher himself. Granted, aged slightly by puberty, as some time had passed since he left YouTube.
Okay, good. He's alive. He's alive. Noah's alive.
You know this is going on YouTube, right? Okay, bye.
Comparison shot of the two, just for the skeptical. So the Noah Food Reviews fans were certainly happy that he was alive, but they wanted to know why he left in the first place and what was he up to. Unfortunately, these questions would have to go unanswered for some time. But almost 2 years later, after...
This is like a movie. This has like twists and turns, and it's an emotional roller coaster, this freaking documentary.
No Noah updates. On November 25th of 2019, Bo Duke would return, this time on Reddit, offering to do an AMA of sorts, sharing what he knew about Noah, clearing up misinformation, and giving some updates into what he was doing now. Has he gotten healthier since the videos were filmed? He's never really been unhealthy, he's just big. Less now, if that's what you're asking. But still on the big side. That's great to hear he's okay. I've been hearing that he's dead. Yeah, I have no clue who started it. I just saw him yesterday for the first time in a little over a year because he dropped out of school, but all is well as he has a job and a brand new white Duramax. LOL. Why did Noah leave YouTube? I need more videos. He left because he got a new phone and deleted all the videos off the channel and he got mad and quit. Did he ever go into a coma or was this fake? No coma, no death. I don't know where y'all get that he literally died, LOL. He did drop out of school though, but he has a job to my knowledge. So from what Bo Duke was saying in this AMA, it appears that Noah's channel was wiped by accident after he got a new phone and was screwing around and something happened, I guess, that caused the videos to be deleted. And I guess he gets frustrated after that and just decides to give up on Noah's food reviews. Anyways, I actually got into contact with Bo Duke recently on Reddit, and I asked him for clarification on some of his statements, in particular the phone deletion thing, as it really didn't make much sense to me. He says, as for why he deleted the videos, he told me it's because when I got a new phone, it deleted the videos. But as I put more thought into it, he probably just deleted them like he was embarrassed by them or something, considering the videos were a few years old when they were deleted to my knowledge. Much of Noah's appeal was his country bumpkin speech pattern, you know, the Miracle Whip and all that fun stuff. I actually have always sort of had a theory that he was playing it up or acting, you know, sort of being a character in these videos. And since Bo Duke knows Noah IRL, I asked him about the voice. He says, yeah, that was just a character. He didn't speak like that when I was around him unless he was doing the voice, LOL. And as far as how Noah is doing these days, he says, well, he was doing good the last time I saw him, big newer diesel truck, working with his family on the farm, that kind of stuff. I asked Bo Duke to try to get me in contact with Noah, but understandably he said that he couldn't give me his personal information, so I have sent out an email to Noah. Hopefully we can get a response there and maybe set up an interview or something. It would be nice to hear from the man himself.
A Nature Valley, sweet and salty nut, granola bar, peanut flavor.
Now here I'd like to share with you some of my own personal thoughts about Noah and him leaving YouTube. After my correspondence with Bo Duke, I think the answer of why Noah left YouTube is really the simplest. I think he got tired and annoyed of people picking on him, and sort of just lost interest in making the videos in general. I'm also of the belief that Noah never intended to actually make good, serious food reviews. Rather, I think his entire channel and food review series was a joke that flew over everyone's head. I really think he was playing a character.
whether he was playing a character or not, it doesn't make sense. The fact that people want perfection from you all the time. They want perfection in your personal life, your private life, your job, every single place. If somebody's making a shitty video, either watch it or don't watch it. Don't need to bitch them out unless unless they're like, I don't know, they're saying something really messed up, you know. There's no reason to like really go out of your way to bitch people out based on, you know, what they have put out or how they are. Like I said, unless they are genuinely bad people. This Noah Reese guy didn't look like a bad person at all. I mean, they were really bad videos, but that's not in such a bad way. Like I would watch it. Just a pure kid like talking into the camera and just doing their thing, making fun of them, making fun of, like, you know, pointing out like at his lip or something. No, the miracle whip that was on his mouth or something. That's just stupid. I do realize that I did talk about this guy's tooth, but that wasn't making fun of him. I just think that is whiter than the rest. So just throwing it out there.
In these videos, and the reviews were an attempted satire, sort of mocking the oversaturated state of the food review hustle on YouTube in general. The genre is really ridiculous when you think about it. You've got people dedicating 20 minutes of their time to review a fucking McDonald's hamburger. Well, Noah's over here upping the ante. He's gonna do the same thing, but for a can of Miracle Whip. I think he was intentionally trying to make this like absurd show. With Noah though, what happened is the joke just sort of got lost in translation, and it ended up with him being made fun of and nobody really getting it. I could be wrong with this theory, but something about his videos always seemed too good to be true. Like there was a bit of acting going on.
I ain't putting mustard on it because I don't like mustard. I taste up a Miracle Whip.
And Bo Duke's anecdote about Noah using a different voice for the video seems to back up the theory. Whatever the case, Noah appears to have made up his mind on the food reviews a long time ago, and it doesn't look like you're ever going to see him upload another one. He's not dead, he's alive, and according to Bo Duke, he's working hard and he's buying diesel trucks, like any good rural Georgian should. Maybe one day we'll get to hear Noah reflect on his status as an infamous living meme and get his perspective on everything, but until then, Noah fans and Noah detractors are stuck with watching the reruns. And that, my friends, was the story of Noah's food review. Did you guys think Noah died? I mean, I was really disappointed with the amount of people I was able to find on the internet that actually believed this really stupid story.
Yeah, I thought he was saying that I was really disappointed that I was really disappointed when I found out that he wasn't dead. I don't know why. But those were two interesting documentaries. One part of the news I did miss out just because it said Facebook here and nothing else. This is Kanchanaburi, Thailand. I wanted to show this video to you guys. It's should I just leave this for next time? I wanted to travel here, but COVID happened. There is an old abandoned mine which has been left in darkness for many years. It's now turned into a challenging location for adventure lovers until somebody ends up dead. Yeah, let's just watch it. It's pretty, by the way. Check it out.
Thailand is located in an area rich in mineral resources. Therefore, various types of mining have been undertaken in many parts of the country. Starting in the north, we find coal, zinc, and gold mines in Lampang, Tak, and Phichit provinces. In the northeast, there are gold and salt mines in Leh and Mahasarakham. In the west, lead mining is very famous in Thong Phapum district of Kanchanaburi province. And lastly, in the southern part, we have tin mining in the provinces of the Andaman coastline, including Ranong, Phang Nga, and Phuket, and also some in Nakhon Si Thammarat province. Taking a look at Kanchanaburi province in the west of Thailand, Thong Phapum district One of the largest sites in Thailand for lead production was once a very prosperous mining industry. However, due to environmental concerns, many have closed down and the area has been turned into destinations offering homestays. Although right now, we can't find any mines in Kanchanaburi anymore, there's still just one left over, and it's the old mining tunnel of Dr. Phol Gleep Bua in Thong Pha Phum district. The tunnel of Dr. Phol Gleep Bua was a mine producing lead, which was owned by the Gleep Bua family since 1955 in collaboration with a German company that used the latest technology in mining construction and built a gigantic underground tunnel for mining at a depth of 180 meters from the ground surface and a total length of 50 kilometers. Decades ago, the mining permit of Dr. Phol Gleep Bua's tunnel was terminated. Since then, it has been dark and empty for many years. Some parts of the property are now under the supervision of the Sahakon Nikom Sub-District Municipality, which decided to transform the abandoned mining tunnel into a tourist destination. Arriving at the tunnel of Dr. Phol Gleep Bua, visitors cannot just roam freely. They need to make a reservation before coming. Starting the trip at the local administrative office, we hop onto a pickup which takes us uphill and deeper into the jungle. About half an hour later, we got to the area of the mining tunnel. Khun Chalermpol, our navigator, first took us to an exclusive tunnel which is normally only in use for the purposes of movie making, where visitors are normally not allowed in. Inside, there is a big chamber where we can park the pickup and go explore the area in the darkness. We even find a small waterfall inside while being greeted by this little cute guy. As it's a movie location, there are still props for our team to come across.
Oh, it's a movie location.
Next, the navigator took us uphill to reach the peak of the mountain where we could enjoy.
Because April 26, things were a little okay in terms of COVID in Thailand, and now things have gone to shit thanks to the freaking sandbox and other things.
Top view of the scene and also climb on the rocky mountain. Nearby, there is a tunnel for hiking. Inside, we find water droplets leaking everywhere from the tunnel ceiling.
I'm gonna cut this short. I'm having camera and battery issues. Thank you everybody for watching. I'm shutting this down because well, one is the camera situation. The other thing is that there's a lot of history with Kanchanaburi, and if I'm talking about this, I'm going to talk about it properly, so we can have actually a proper situation in terms of exploration of the area in different parts of Thailand. So that's another series entirely. This will be part of the NewsViews live streams as well. But yeah. Anywho, while I'm still on camera and my battery's almost dead, I just like to say thank you so much for watching. For anybody who was here on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, and I appreciate your time. And the camera is off, so I'm just going to talk. I appreciate your time, and I do think that. Wait, I'm so distracted now. Yeah, let me just. Yeah, just put this here. Yeah, and I do appreciate you guys watching and listening in and keeping in touch. Please like these videos, share them if you can, subscribe to the channel, and I will be seeing you tomorrow with some more news, with some more interesting videos to watch with me. If there are any specific kinds of videos that you want me to watch, please feel free to share them. on chat or on the comment sections, and I'll be happy to watch all of them. Thank you so much to NBT World for letting me use your stuff. There is also Wavy Web Surf, whose video we watched. Please don't copyright strike me, man. I really appreciate these documentaries, and that's just how it goes. And already Magnates Media. But now I feel bad. I'm gonna subscribe here as well. So anyways, take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys why don't I just end with my stuff? Oh yeah. If there's any thing on my channel you guys do want to watch, there are some nice streams that I've had in the past. There's some where is it? There is this a girl I interviewed named Mariam Afifi, and she lives in Jerusalem, and she's an activist in Palestine. So it was just a crazy interview with her. This is what it is, and this is how I'm gonna end the stream. She is the girl who was basically getting beaten up and arrested by cops, and she just smiled and laughed at their faces, which was freaking amazing.
I have hope that our protesting and our voice will be heard, and that the Sheikh Jarrah houses will not be and the families will not be dispelled from their houses.
So yeah, I mean, this is from May 23rd, but if you guys want to watch this stuff, the live streams are all over here. Take care of yourselves, have a good evening, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye, God bless, Allah Hafiz, Namaste.